Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's Tuesday morning. There's a gentle but beautiful breeze blowing, just bringing in this magnificent morning. We're edging to the end of summer, the end of another summer. And when summer ends, I always ask myself the question, how many more summers do we get to enjoy in our lifetimes? Hopefully a few more, but we'll try and extend it by travelling overseas whenever we can and try and maximise and leverage the summers that we get to enjoy throughout the world. But it doesn't stop us turning every season into a summer just through our thought processes, the way we think, the way we live, the way we behave. Just because it's autumn, just because it's winter, doesn't mean that you can't extract a summer from those seasons. You just need to be creative, you just need to be active, and you just need to live with a summer mindset. Anyway, what I'd like to do today is do what I normally do on Jim's 5am Club, is to deliver a book summary like I normally do, where we take OPE, other people's experiences, in the form of books and book summaries and experiences, and present them to each other via a walk and talk, where we can use and showcase the beauty of this magnificent city that I live in and overlay it with a message of empowerment, where we can take some life hacks that we've been able to source from people's deep thinking, because it's only through books, through documentaries, through seminars, that we get to tap into the depths of people's thoughts and to learn things and to gain insights into areas that most people may not have been able to tap into unless they've had the opportunity to sit down, think deeply, and write from their soul. Today's book summary is entitled Superhuman by an author named Dave Asprey. So this book is about dieting, it's about lifestyle, it's about getting the most out of what you have. And the key point that he kicks off with is quite profound and quite interesting. He says you don't make yourself crazy about getting it perfect all of the time, because stress like that makes you old. What he's alluding to there with that comment is that we don't have to be perfect all the time. We don't have to seek perfection with everything we do. What's more important in order to get the maximum results from our health, from our diet, from the ingredients that we have in our lives, from the gifts that we have been given from birth, is to try and make the most of it and to progress step by step, knowing that we're never ever going to be perfect, but what we can do is we can get better day by day, moment by moment, by following a plan, our plan, the plan that we have decided for ourselves via research that we've done, via books that we've learned from, via people that we model. So the author here kicks off by making a bold point that it's important, it's critical to not stress about things too much, because stress makes us old, stress makes us bitter, stress takes us away from who we're meant to be. So the key message and the key learning from this author is to just aim at getting it mostly right at home, and you'll be far ahead of the curve. So basically, being able to do the best you can while you can, and knowing that there are going to be temptations everywhere we go, but to understand that getting it right most of the time is much better than worrying about getting it perfect all of the time. So a powerful message, and we'll just see where else we can go. Just getting out of that breeze there, which was buffeting the mic. The next point that the author makes here is that no scientist that has ever lived knows the secret to immortality, physical immortality that is. But eating and sleeping and less stress can help a long way for us to get to live longer and to live better. So the key point there is that nobody knows what will make us immortal, and we need to understand that what we need is better sleep, better eating habits, and less stress, because those three ingredients alone will deliver better outcomes. The first key point that comes from this author is that if you decided to switch your diet to a protein-based diet, it will most definitely help you avoid serious illness in the long run. So science has informed us over time that a protein-based diet, according to this author, other authors will tell you other things, but at the end of the day I'm doing a book summary on this authorship, and this author here is telling us that a protein-based diet will help avoid serious illness in the long run, because at the end of the day we are what we eat. And we are who we'll be as well. So not only are we presently a compounding of what we've eaten over time, what we continue to eat will also determine our future, whether or not we have a healthy future or a less healthy future, of course with God's help along the way. So the call to action from this author is to ditch the carbs, and to ditch them immediately. Ditch the carbs today, he says, because what we have in our makeup is we have things called mitochondria, which are the powerhouse of our cells. The mitochondria are the powerhouse of our cells, and if we don't eat right, the cells release free radicals, which impact our whole being, our whole physical being that is, and our bodies degenerate, our cells degenerate into disease if we don't manage those key elements. The author also goes on to say that these mitochondria also release antioxidants, which reverse the bad effects of free radicals. But these mitochondria and these antioxidants all depend on what you eat, how you eat, when you eat, and the mindset you have when you're eating. So in order to maximize the work of the mitochondria, the author here tells us to ditch the sugars, ditch the grains, and by reducing and eliminating the carbs, or reducing the carbs only 2 days a week, we can get better health outcomes in our lives. He also suggests that we eat fish and white meat and to eat free range wherever possible. The next point that the author talks about is intermittent fasting and the vitamins that we take into our bodies. So on the topic of intermittent fasting, the author here informs us that intermittent fasting helps reverse the aging process, and it's also proven to be able to boost metabolism, produce antioxidants, and regenerate the neurons of the brain. So when we talk about intermittent fasting, what we're talking about is eating for a certain period throughout the day, after which you then fast for another period of the day, meaning that you take in no other food. A typical sort of fast is an 8-16 fast, where you eat for 8 hours of the day and then you purge your body of any foods for about 16 hours of the day. And that way you've got you're giving your body some time to digest and use the nutrients from the food that you've eaten, and also give your body a chance to regenerate by clearing out toxins and doing whatever it has to do to maintain its health and maintain its environment. So what we're saying here is something which is not all that new, because for thousands of years people of different religions have used fasting as an integral part of their daily life, part of their way of life. For example, Greek Orthodox fast every week, 2 days a week. They fast on a Wednesday and they fast on a Friday. And when we talk about fasting, it's a strict fast where they eat small portions of food and they eliminate meats, fats, dairy, and the other complex sort of foods, and reduce their eating to very, very simple food sources such as vegetables, nuts, grains, I think I said fruits, but make it very, very simple for the body to break down, and that is one sort of fast that happens every single week for a Greek Orthodox. And also there are other fasts throughout the year. There's a fast for Easter, which goes for 40 days leading into Holy Week. So the fast could be as much as 55 days from meat and 49 days from dairy, eggs, and things like that. There's also a fast for Christmas, another 40 days. There's a fast in August for the Virgin Mary, for the repose, for the Dormition of the Virgin Mary. And there's another fast known as the Apostles' Fast, which happens throughout the year. So if you measure and if you count all the days that a Christian is called to fast within the Greek Orthodox Church, for example, what you'll find is that half of the year, half of the calendar year, is dedicated to fasting, or dedicated, should I say, to intermittent fasting, if you want to look at it from a scientific perspective. And it's interesting that science now informs us that fasting not only is good for us, but it's important to help us clear our toxins from our brain. It adds years to our lives. It de-stresses our bodies. And it has so many wonderful advantages that you just look at it in amazement. And I say to myself, well, how did they know? But it wasn't just the Christians who fasted. The Jews before the Christians fasted. So we as Christians are a follow-on from the Judaic traditions. The Jews fasted 2 days a week. It was a different fast. They fasted from different foods. And interestingly enough, the first two humans on earth, Adam and Eve, were called to fast from God, to not eat certain fruits from a particular tree, regardless of whether or not it's a metaphor or not. It is a command from God to mankind to resist doing certain elements in order to maintain the oneness that we have as humans with God. So the other thing that the author talks about is not only should we be partaking in intermittent fasting, where we reduce the calories that we take into our body in number, but also reduce the period in which we take those calories in. We're also asked to increase or to monitor and manage our vitamin D absorption, because according to this book, according to this author, vitamin D is essential for the development and maintenance of our brain, as well as helping us fight disease. So not only is sunlight important, but the type of sunlight. The sort of sunlight that the author talks about is the first sun of the morning sunlight, where the sun is coming from a lower angle and not the intense sunlight around lunchtime, which could be damaging to the body because of the type of light that it's emitting. So we've talked about intermittent fasting, we've talked about vitamin D, we've talked about the fact that it's important to be selective on the type of foods that we eat, to focus more on protein, animal protein, and to cut out the carbs where possible, the sugars, in order to increase our life longevity. But as we said, within the Christian model, within the Greek Orthodox Christian lifestyle, all of these things are catered for those who wish to live a traditional Christian life. The other thing that the author talks about here is the importance of sleep, and to take sleep seriously if you want to live longer, because just like eating the right foods is important, the author here reminds us that sleeping and getting good quality sleep is also critical, because it allows us to clear out the toxins in our brain and to help the cells throughout our whole body to regenerate and to have a break, to de-stress, and to allow our bodies to be in a state of relaxation. Typically the author says that between 6 and 8 hours of sleep are ideal, but it's not only the time that you sleep, the number of hours that you sleep, but the quality of that sleep that you enjoy. It's important to engage in deep sleep, where the magic, according to this author, happens. And the last thing that the author talks about is exercise, the importance of exercise for our health and for our longevity. So it's important to exercise, it's important to be active physically, mentally, and spiritually and emotionally. We need to experience the ups and downs. We need to regulate our bodies, our health, because it's through this activity that the author talks about that we get to stimulate and secrete the necessary hormones to go through our body that help regulate our health, help cleanse our bodies, and help us live a better life. And more importantly, the author focuses on a type of exercise, and it's become a lot more popular of late. And the sort of exercise that the author talks about is this high impact interval training, where we work really hard and vigorous for a certain amount of time, and then we rest, and then we do it again and again and again, lifting our heart rate, making ourselves sweat, making ourselves pant. So we're sucking in oxygen. The oxygen is getting into our blood, which is pumping around our body and fueling and cleansing and reaching every cell of our being. So an interesting book, the book which was entitled Superhuman by Dave Asprey, where we went on a journey of discovery. A lot of the stuff in this book we know, but it's always good to be reminded, to be constantly reminded of the things that help bring out the best in each and every one of us, knowing very well that we're all similar in our makeup, physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually, and we all need certain fuels, certain things, certain practices to be done on a regular basis to manage, maintain and to enhance our health in all aspects of our lives, so holistically we get to live our life to the full spectrum and to enjoy all of the gifts of that beautiful thing that we have called our life, our unique and special lives, knowing very well that we're all going to have a different past. We're all going to experience a different now, a different present. I am here, you're somewhere else, and we're all going to experience a different future. And nobody knows how their life is going to pan out, because at the end of the day, it's God's will, and it's a mystery, and it's that mystery that makes it so special and so wonderful. So wishing everybody a happy rest of the day. I look forward to coming to you again from a different place with a different message of empowerment, where we can live, learn and pass it on, and make sure that we protect, we nurture and we enhance this life that we have, where our physicality and our spirituality unite as one and unite with God. Take care everybody, yasas, and bye for now.